see if this works. Hi, my name is James. I'm the Poor Protector. I got a new couch and my office exploded, and I'm here today to tell you who I think is going to win these first 3 days of the LCS Lock In tournament. This is going to be a bit of a wild one, as there's a good number of players on multiple teams. I think like 7 or 8 players who are either just joining their team, like today, as I'm recording this, or yesterday, or they aren't going to be on the team at all due to visa issues. Most notably, Santorin on Team Liquid, who's going to be their jungler, and really the jungler kind of ties together this team. Although, like, the bot side of the map should still do pretty well. Anyway, we'll get to that as we cover some of the predictions here. First up, day 1. This is the Friday night games. I've got 100 Thieves beating TSM. So 100 Thieves is going to do very well, especially early on, because they have all of the old Golden Guardians team, except for Someday, who is consistently in the talks for being the best top laner in the league. They should do really well with, like, all still having synergy together, and that'll give them quite the boost at this early on tournament. Next up, we have CLG versus Team Liquid. Team Liquid, like I said, bottom side of the map looking pretty good. Santorin, they supposedly have a new jungler, but he should do fairly well. So I'm giving them the win over CLG. CLG is kind of like the team you'd love to have and try to get like 3rd or 4th place like 2 or 3 years ago. Wild Turtle and Pobelter are big names from a few years back. Smoothie similarly was on Cloud9 for a while and did really well. He's been known to talk too much. Wild Turtle and Pobelter have always been like B plus grade players, but there's no star power here. Solo had an okay spring split last year, but did not great at Worlds, and I gotta be honest, I don't know much about Griffin. So they'll be good probably also early on. Like, if there's one that I'm going to get wrong, it's this one right here, because TL isn't going to have the synergy, and CLG will just have raw talent enough to get them through these first few games. But I still, especially long term, I'm giving this to Team Liquid. I think Tactical and Core JJ looked way better than Wild Turtle and Smoothie will. Same with Jensen over Pobelter. It's just, you've got a A- to A grade bottom 3 versus their bottom 3. I think Alfari beats Solo on a given day, and again, he was on CLG Academy last year by the looks of it here, and I think the jungler for Team Liquid, whoever that will be, will do just fine. On to Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses. Cloud9 looks fantastic. I haven't talked about them yet. Perks is the big pickup. He was the number 1 mid laner, face of EU last year, and was like a $5 million buyout on top of whatever they're paying him just for salary. This squad did great. Fudge is new, but like everybody talks him up. He should be pretty good. And against Evil Geniuses, this is a coin flip team a bit. Notably Jizuke and Ignar, and really even Svenskeren to a certain extent, are all very, they're going to go in, they're going to come at you kind of team. They'll be fun to watch, absolutely, but there's a solid chance that they fall flat on their face. Impact is the notable thing here. He used to be on Cloud9, but they sold him for perks, not exactly for perks directly, but just for the money to buy perks probably. Because he, former world champion, big name, played on SKT back in the day. Always known as very consistent, but just didn't quite have the edge over some top laners when they went to Worlds. So I think they're trying to either switch things up or just free up an import slot for perks to come in. Anyway, He's now on Evil Geniuses. He will probably be better than Fudge, especially early on, depending on how Fudge deals with nerves. Although Perks and Fudge have been talking big game on social media, so who knows how that'll go. Still going to give this to Cloud9 all day, pretty much every day. Especially towards later parts of the season, especially in a best of 5, as we'll see later. Dignitas versus FlyQuest. FlyQuest, they might be the better of the rookie teams. Basically, there were a couple teams: FlyQuest, Golden Guardians, Immortals for the most part, and there was one more. Dignitas. All have no. They basically, from what I understand, didn't have money, and didn't want to, and so they chose to rebuild. Got a bunch of rookies. We got 7 rookies, and I think 6 of them are on these 4 teams. A lot of these, like Fake God and Johnson, so they're not technically rookies, but they're really close. Those 4 teams here are not going to do well. So I'm giving this to FlyQuest. They're probably the best of those 4 teams. Licorice had the best stats for any top laner last year, and Johnson was maybe the 3rd best AD carry last year. He looked really good, especially when he was paired with Aphromoo, who's very much a veteran support. But so it's not quite sure how he'll do with Diamond. But Aphромoo's had middling years for the past few years, except for notably last split where he and Johnson looked really good on paper, but their team could never get too many wins. So, in general, I give more. If I had to rank these 4 teams, it would probably be FlyQuest, followed by. Sorry, these last 3 don't look good. Probably Golden Guardians, and then Dignitas, and maybe Immortals. Immortals here is. I just don't know them. These are unknown quantities to me. That'll be a rough judge. I don't think I've picked them to win just about anything in these first few, just because I don't know who most of them are. They'll probably surprise me, and I hope they do, because we could really use that turnaround. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, Dardoch is a. These aren't good, so I might have to switch this one later when we get there. But Golden Guardians versus CLG. Like I said, CLG. This is a B team from 3 years ago. They'll do good, especially early on. Golden Guardians. This is Stixay, who's not known for his coaching ability, in-game leader ability, with a bunch of rookies. So I don't see this team doing great. Definitely giving that one to CLG. Evil Genius versus Immortals. Again, Evil Geniuses should be fun. Immortals, not looking good. Definitely giving that to Evil Geniuses. TSM versus Golden Guardians. Haven't really talked about TSM except for a little bit with 100 Thieves earlier. This is going to be interesting. This is not like TSM of old. Bjergsen is now coach instead of their all-star mid laner. They brought in Power of Evil, who's consistently been probably the 3rd best mid laner in the league. He's very consistent, very good. Huni here is the big question mark for me. No idea what he's going to do. He could do great. He could do very poorly. Notably, TSM, this isn't really going to affect this tournament too much because I bet they stick with this team for now. But they've got backups for both their top laner as well as their AD carry in Lost. Lost came from Oceania, was in the Challenger Series for a while. Lost, former, not world champion, but world contender. He was a world finalist. This should be a good team. These 2 in bot lane are supposedly very good. It's Spica Spica looks good. Huni is who I'm worried about on this team. But for now, at least, I'm giving them the head up over Golden Guardians, who looks a little bit more thrown together. Cloud9 over FlyQuest. FlyQuest, sorry, they just don't stand a chance. Cloud9's going to be really good. Immortals, again, not great. Definitely giving this to Dignitas, although this might be a little bit closer. I've heard good things about these rookies, especially from a couple people who watch the Academy scene way more than I do. I've listened to way too much League of Legends content recently. But This could be in Immortals' favor for sure, especially now that I'm looking at it. I don't like this team. We're switching it to Immortals here. Anyway, 100 Thieves versus CLG. Giving this to 100 Thieves. CLG, they're good but not great. 100 Thieves, I think, has a higher peak. Like, these are very known quantities. I think 100 Thieves wins this one. Moving on to day 3. Mortals versus Cloud9. Mortals don't stand a chance. TL versus 100 Thieves. This will be close. I'm giving it to TL, but it's going to be close. Especially, and this will change depending on how 100 Thieves come out on day 1. Because depending on how they mesh with Someday, that's the big question. I think they'll do good, but with Team Liquid missing their jungler, that's harder to say. Tentatively giving it to Team Liquid. There's a solid chance I will change some of these on day 2 and 3 later, but for right now, this is what I'm going with. Dig versus EG. Dig doesn't look great. EG looks much better. At very least more fun. TSM versus CLG. TSM, I'm giving it to them. This will also be close. Again, depending on Huni. Huni's the big coin flip, big question mark. TL versus Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians doesn't stand a chance. Jungler, no jungler. Anyway, these are my predictions for the first week. Day 4 happens on the 22nd. I think that's the following Friday. And then the quarterfinals actually happen the next day. So a lot of these teams won't know if they're making the quarterfinals for their groups. Sorry, I haven't talked about that at all. But a lot of these teams won't know if they're making the quarterfinals, finals. Actually, sorry, most of them will. All right. I'm going to bring it back around. The tournament is weird. The teams have been drafted into 2 groups. You've got Group A and Group B. So Group B is only facing themselves. Group A is only facing themselves. I think it's a single round robin. That's why they each play 4 games. But only one team will not make it. It's not necessarily TSM in this case. They just happen to be the lowest in alphabetical order. But one team won't make it. The other 4 teams make it into the knockout stage here. And depending on how they are seeded, changes who they play against. But you will play against the high seed in Group A will play against the lowest seed in Group B, so on and so forth. And so the lowest teams from the group are going to get knocked out earliest. If I had to guess, in Group A, Golden Guardians. 100 Thieves, Cloud9, 100 Thieves, Counterlogic Gaming, Team Liquid, and TSM all should do pretty well. Here, this is much more of a toss-up. Evil Geniuses and Cloud9 look pretty good. FlyQuest is okay. Immortals and Dignitas, that's where you're going to have some struggles. Those 2 are going to be fighting to not be in the bottom here. Whoever they can pick up a win against either each other or surprise win against somebody else. That's how you'll know who's not going to make it out of this group. But so I will be probably editing day 2 and 3. I'll talk about that next week when I review for day 4 and potentially the quarterfinals. And then we'll talk about semifinals the week after that. Anyway, you have a good week. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Have a good day.